So I'm here with Henry Alonso Myers, the executive producer and showrunner of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the man with all the answers. Tell us everything about season 2.
Well, it starts with everyone dying. No. Without giving anything away, we are trying to do everything we did on season 1, but do it on steroids. Like the whole thing, I come from a writing philosophy of act like you don't have a pickup for another season. Act like there is no show tomorrow, so what is the story you want to do today? So to that end, I would say that season 2 is really ambitious. We try to do a bunch of things that have never been done on Trek before, including the crossover episode with Lower Decks, which I'm delighted by, and I can't wait to share with the world. We try to do a bunch of things that we wouldn't have been able to do season 1 just because we weren't ready. We couldn't have handled it. Bigger effects, crazier sets, stranger worlds, like aliens that like really odd, strange, non-humanoid aliens that you wouldn't have seen otherwise, that you couldn't pull off without the contemporary visual effects and or prosthetics. I'd like to think that we carry through most of the promises that we make in season 1. I'm going to leave that out there. Although I will say there are probably a few that we're going to end up punting. But in general, I would say that we try to continue to do big, thoughtful, character-based episodic storytelling that tells interesting, thoughtful science fiction ideas. Sometimes the show is really funny. Sometimes the show is really sad. It's going to totally make you cry. It makes me cry a lot. I would say, for me, the big headline is, at its apex, the show is joyful.
The mastery of different genres of Strange New Worlds is actually one of the greatest things about it. Honestly, it's amazing how you guys can go from comedy to action to drama, and without missing a beat. And
that's my favorite part about working on the show. I mean, you usually you get on a show and you have to do like one tone, and you do it over and over and over again, and that, as a writer I get bored, and it's really fun. We have an incredible stable of writers who are able to hit lots of different tones, and it's rare that you can find a show that allows you to do that. Do you know what I mean? So, and sometimes within the same episode. So I don't know. I feel incredibly blessed and fortunate to be able to write that stuff.
Now, I've got to ask you about the crossover. Star Trek. Well, I'd like to know how it came about.
Well, I think it originally started one of our season 2 writers, David Reed, is a writer on The Boys, and he had been talking with Jack Quaid, and they were sort of joking about wouldn't it be fun to have a crossover where he played Boimler and came to the Enterprise, because he's also shooting in Toronto, same place that we shoot. And then it literally, he was texting with him, and it started with that. And then we kind of built on it from there, and then it was sort of like, well, what if we had Tawny there, and what if, and we called, I can't remember if we called Mike McMahon at that point, but we literally built up this entire, we had built up this entire idea before Alex had completely randomly called me and said, hey, I had this crazy idea, what if you guys did a crossover? And we're like, that's really weird that you should say that, because I've got some good news for you. So, then we had to make a deal to get the two of them over and figure out how we were going to do it, and we had to make a deal with the animation company Titmouse that does Lower Decks and figure out how we were going to work with them. And, there was a lot of we had this frantic, excited, kind of conceptual moment where we had the idea for the show as a staff, and then there was a bunch of negotiating, and then once that was over with, we were doing the whole thing together. So, so does that sort of answer your question?
No, absolutely. Well,
anything comes together. It comes together very, very fast and then very, very slowly.
Well, let me tell you. Until I'm not sure what you're going to announce today, but right now the crossover is the Star Trek thing I'm most excited about next year. So I can't wait to see it.
We just finished working on the cut, and I've got the animation for last Friday, the first pass in the animation. So, Awesome. I've seen the whole thing, and it's delightful, and I cannot wait to share it with people.
I can't wait to see it. Listen, Henry, thank you so much for speaking to me today. Have a great Star Trek day.
Thank you. Happy Star Trek Day. Peace.